Ali is taken to see the director of the pool mission, Roger Kay. He's always keen to sell her more courses. She's already spent £250 and claims to have little money left. Kay's recommending Ali should be audited for another 20 hours and do more courses, costing another £2,000.
During a line that I had a disinheritance in Australia, and he became very interested in that. He didn't push me, but he slowly tried to find out ways how I could get that money, how I could fax the bank, how I could get it quickly. Even though I assured him I could get it in a couple of weeks, that wasn't soon enough for him.
Ali needs to move her car as her 2-hour parking ticket is about to expire. Scientologist insists on accompanying her. Ali's rarely left alone, even to go to the toilet, and she's escorted from office to office. It's a deliberate ploy, according to former staff member Stuart Boot.
The idea was that you weren't going to let them leave, because often you found if people had a moment or two to think, the chances are they'd leave or want to change their mind about the money they'd paid in for a course, which was often quite high.
Stuart Boot was 5th in command at Pool Mission until November last year. He attended many late-night meetings to decide which clients to hit financially.
It would become a money-orientated thing that you were looked at as to how many services we could get out of you and how much money we could milk you for.
You basically make the person feel really, really bad about the condition they're in. You take their problems and you magnify them. You look at how that's going to affect them in the future, and you get the person into a state where they feel that their future is nothing unless they do something. And then you tell them that the only thing they can do is Scientology.
The bridge costs more than £20,000. To pay for it, Alex was persuaded to cash in an insurance policy, but he was told it had to be done immediately.
I'd spoken to the insurance company and been told that, there was no way they could get it that week. It would take 2-3 weeks minimum. So I went back to Scientology and they said, oh no, this is not correct. We've done this before. You just say that it's your money. If you want it, you can get it.
They were right. When Alex insisted he wanted the money quickly, the insurance company paid up. The senior registrar, Stephanie Powell, went with him to collect the money. But even though Alex handed over more than £23,000, she still wasn't satisfied. Within days, he'd been persuaded he needed more training courses, tapes and books, amounting to another £2,000.
They played me for a puppet. They managed, within the space of a week, to get £25,000 off me. That's more than my banks have ever managed to do in 25 years.
Nuclear physicist Adam Bird was milked for £34,000. He went to the Scientologists for help with dyslexia, but ended up borrowing from various different banks to buy courses. Then several Scientologists came to lodge with him to help with the hefty interest payments.
During this event, they took over my life. I had not intended to put lodges in my house. I now had lodges in my house with Scientologists, one of whom was quite high up in their command structure. To help pay again, another one of them had loaned my car and was supposedly paying me rent for it. I then didn't have any means of transport.
Fry gave the Scientologists £21,000 under the influence of these staring routines.
I actually stared into somebody's eyes for an hour and a half, just continually, and straight afterwards I was taken upstairs to buy more courses, and I can remember just handing over, actually signed a piece of blank paper with my initials, and then gave them, they typed a letter of authority in around it, and I just went and drew out what they wanted.
People were persuaded to remortgage their homes, sell their homes, cash in the policies that were supposed to pay off their mortgages, borrow against their pensions, sell their family jewels, borrow from their families, sell their cars. Anything you can possibly imagine that a person could do to raise money, people were persuaded to do to pay into Scientology.
In the Bournemouth mission every Thursday evening, the executives met to draw up a list of emotionally vulnerable recruits to be targeted that week.
There'd be some people who maybe their mother had just died and they were very depressed, or their girlfriend had just left them, and those would be prime targets.
John Buchanan was a Scottish landscape gardener who worked in Germany. 3 years ago, John became involved in Scientology at the Munich mission. He piled up huge debts with several German banks to buy Scientology courses and materials. Last November, to escape his debts, he committed suicide. He left a final note for his mother, Mary MacDonald. He explained that he believed that he would come back to life and return to Scotland. The Scientology had taught John Buchanan to believe in reincarnation.
It definitely said that he was going to be reincarnated and come back in another life or another form, which obviously something that he was never brought up to believe in, and I just didn't know that he did believe in things like that.
John Buchanan did return to Scotland to be buried in this village churchyard in the Trossachs. When he died, among his few possessions were the Scientology books, tapes and equipment that had cost him thousands of pounds.
I feel that if it wasn't for Scientology, he'd probably still be here.